In the years following the Great War, the map of Europe was deeply fractured. Nations were struggling to rebuild, and the search for common ground was largely confined to fragile treaties and the complex laws of the new League of Nations. Football was growing fast, but it was trapped. The only international stage was the Olympic Games, which enforced a strict amateur-only policy. As professional leagues emerged in Europe and South America, the world's most skilled players were effectively banned from competing for their countries. FIFA President Jules Rimet saw an opportunity to bridge this gap. He proposed a global championship that would be open to every player, regardless of their professional status. To Rimet, football wasn't just a sport. It was a way to foster international unity outside of the Olympic framework. But the vision faced immediate pushback. Organizing a truly global tournament in the 1920s meant overcoming the onset of the Great Depression and the massive logistical hurdle of moving teams across oceans. Most observers dismissed the idea as a financial and practical impossibility. When Uruguay was selected to host the first World Cup in 1930, the distance proved too great for most. For European nations, participation meant a costly 3-week voyage by steamship. 2 months before kickoff, not a single European country had pledged to attend. Rimet had to intervene personally. He convinced 4 European squads to board the Conte Verde for the long trip across the Atlantic. Fearing the trophy itself might be lost or delayed, Rimet packed the gold-plated statuette into his own suitcase and carried it to Montevideo himself. Despite the small field of 13 teams, the experiment was an undeniable success. Over 93,000 people packed the newly built Estadio Centenario to watch the final. Uruguay's victory proved that a standalone football world championship could generate massive local interest. While the tournament gained momentum through the 1930s, the outbreak of the Second World War brought everything to a halt. The 1942 and 1946 games were canceled, as the nations of the world focused their resources on a much more violent global contest. After 12 years of silence, the tournament faced a difficult path forward. How did this fragile 13-team experiment survive the 1940s to become the most watched event on the planet? The turning point came in 1954. The World Cup in Switzerland was the first to be televised, bringing the miracle of Bern directly into homes across Europe. For the first time, fans could see the speed of the game as it happened. Broadcast visibility turned regional stars into the world's first athletic celebrities. By the time a 17-year-old Pelé arrived in 1958, the camera was ready to export his skill to a global audience, making him a household name across every continent. But as the audience grew, so did the national pressure. By 1966, matches were no longer just games. They were high-visibility tests of national prestige. Tens of millions of people were now watching every foul and every goal in real time. That visibility made the tournament a target. Just before the 1966 kickoff, the trophy was stolen while on display in London. It was eventually found by a dog named Pickles, who discovered the golden statuette wrapped in newspaper in a South London garden. The physical nature of the game was also changing. Televised matches in the 1960s were becoming increasingly violent, and referees struggled to maintain order. In 1970, FIFA introduced yellow and red cards to provide a clear visual system of discipline that both players and television viewers could immediately understand. By the 1970s, the original trophy was retired after Brazil won their 3rd title. FIFA commissioned this, a new solid gold replacement designed to represent the modern era of the sport. In just 2 decades, the tournament had transformed from a physical contest between neighbors into a globally synchronized media event. As football's popularity exploded across Africa and Asia, the old format hit a wall. With only 16 slots, many emerging nations were effectively locked out. FIFA needed a way to accommodate a truly global field. In 1982, the tournament expanded to 24 teams. This allowed for greater representation from Africa and Asia, but it created a new problem. The bracket no longer divided evenly. This forced FIFA into a complex system of secondary group stages. Teams that survived the first round were thrown into new groups of 3, creating a confusing path that was difficult for fans and broadcasters to follow. The solution arrived in 1998 with the 32-team format. It was a mathematical return to balance. 8 groups of 4, with the top 2 advancing to a clear, single-elimination knockout stage. To ensure these high-pressure matches were decided on the field, the penalty shootout became the standard tiebreaker. It provided a definitive, televised end to matches that couldn't be settled in extra time. This shift to a symmetrical bracket provided the structural foundation necessary to double the size of the field while maintaining a clear, logical path to the final. The 32-team era ended the traditional European and South American monopoly. It gave emerging nations a consistent platform to compete at the highest level, proving that the game's talent was now distributed globally. We saw this shift with Cameroon's historic run in 1990. Roger Mella's goals didn't just win matches. They demonstrated that African teams could compete with and defeat the established world powers. That trend continued in 2022 when Morocco reached the semifinals. Their success proved that the gap between traditional hierarchies and the rest of the world was closing faster than ever. Now, the tournament is preparing for its largest structural change yet. In 2026, the field will expand again to 48 teams. It raises an important question for the future of the sport. Does moving to 48 teams risk diluting the competition, or is it the final step in achieving Rimet's goal of true global representation? The modern World Cup is a massive departure from Jules Rimet's 1930 gamble. He began with a gold statuette tucked into a suitcase. Today, the tournament is the center of a global industry. The event is now defined by massive commercial interests, logistical complexity, and constant international scrutiny. Yet, despite the scale, the tournament fulfills Rimet's original vision. It creates a moment where nations with deeply different histories agree to compete on the same field under the same set of rules.